Welcome in. It's a grudge match. You might hear some Sesame Street. It's going to be a great time today live on the game plan for Chiefs versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Herbert versus Mahomes, the QB Mortal Kombat. I'm ready for it. This is one of my favorite games because, as we've seen in past years, you get the best out of both of these players, I feel. Herbert, when he was hurt the other year and ran for it on game one, the whole 9 yards, like, I love this matchup. I was a big Herbert proponent, and I do feel like despite the offensive play calling and coach changes in the whole 9 yards, that he is still a guy that has upside at this point. I think Patrick Mahomes brings out the best in Justin Herbert. And I think the whole, what was that comment at the golf match a year or two ago? Like, I think he pushes Patrick as well. I expect this to be an absolute shootout between the two quarterbacks in terms of efficiency and delivering the ball. It might not reflect in the score, but I see this as the biggest challenge. How do you feel about this matchup?
I'm glad it came after the Broncos game, honestly, because I think that they figured some things out, how to move the football. Like, that was an area where they could have finally figured some things out. It looked like they were trying to get Rashee more involved in different concepts. And you guys checked out the video earlier in the week from Rashee Rice breakdown. You could see that they were trying multiple different ways to get him the football in space. I think that that's someplace you can still attack this Los Angeles Chargers defense, which by all accounts hasn't been very good this year. Once again, Brandon Staley, who was hired for his defensive expertise, has had not a great defense in LA his entire stead as the head coach. So that's just kind of, it's interesting. And I'm more interested in watching, once again, Derwin James, who's not having a good season. He's got at least 5 unnecessary roughness penalties this season, where he's just coming in to plays that are already being made and delivering hits that don't need to be hit. And I agree with you, though, that Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes, they make each other better because they both want to beat each other so bad. Like, they're kind of compared to each other. They're these big arm quarterbacks that have mobility. I mean, you could say that they were both kind of undervalued in the draft process a little bit, to an extent. Mahomes coming out of Texas Tech, and Herbert had a lot of questions coming out of Oregon. Turns out Oregon wasn't running a very good system. Not surprising when you consider that Justin Herbert's a much smarter quarterback than he was in Oregon, at least by all accounts now. So it's a lot of fun, and I'm excited.
I am too. I love that they both have a weapon too. We're going to talk about all the prime matchups today. We're going to get you to your pick'em segment, brought to you by Underdog. I know you guys are looking forward to that. We got great response last week. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. If you're new to this channel or you're watching this on replay, we are live Friday afternoon, but you may be seeing this Friday night or Saturday or whatever it is. Please like and sub and hit that button. If you like this video and you like this format, especially some of the stuff we're going to show you here in a second, I hope that you will do that and consider becoming a sub to the channel. And for you members, my game notes went out. You've got a clip from Dan. I'm going to give you where I'm at here as well. So make sure you get in the memberships in the community tab. You can join the memberships with a join button underneath Dan. And you can always get our gear, if you like, in the store as well. But this is what it comes down to. When you compare the quarterbacks, this is it. This is just PFF's ratings and that kind of thing. I'm not too worried about that, but they are at the top. When you look at them, they're both running 68 or ish % completion rate. Kudos to Jimmy Garoppolo. He's actually keeping up in that department, although you can see the lowest attempts in this division. And the 9-to-1 ratio for Herbert, just a little bit better than Patrick Mahomes' 11-to-5 ratio for touchdowns to interceptions. But Patrick clearly getting the yardage here, and that goes towards what their records reflect in particular. But what I do like to see here is that Patrick's put it up a little bit more. His depth of targets a little bit less. And I think both these teams want to change some of these stats. So that, for me, is the basis of where this game starts. And how they get there is something we're going to discuss later. But what stands out to you as statistically anything that's different than what we or the national media may have looked at before?
I mean, I think that Patrick has had an interesting season, obviously, with some of his turnover-worthy plays. The game against the Jets really stands out to making some decisions he definitely doesn't normally make and throws that he doesn't normally make, where you was just kind of got away from him a little bit. And I think that was the game that after the first quarter, you were like, okay, there's something a little bit off with him that game. Like, it was just, it was just a kind of a game situation that didn't favor him in the slightest, and they played really good defense there too. So both of these guys are playing really good football. The Chiefs' record is reflective that it's a team sport, right? Like it's not always just falling on the quarterback to make everything happen, because by all accounts, the Chiefs' offense has been underwhelming this season. They're 5-1. And while the Chargers' offense has been talked about in, having kind of differing opinions on, it looks really, really good, and yet they're 2-3. They're unable to get over that schneid, and a lot of it, in my opinion, is because of their defense. And Justin Herbert's had to carry a lot of the load for the Chargers' offense and defensive failings. So, they have Corey Linsley on IR again, so they have a backup center. Like, they continuously fall to injuries every single year. We said this when they were in San Diego, but there's something that's in the water wherever they are, that the injury bug continues to bite them. And I was talking to our friend of the show, Steve Hagland, who covers the Chargers, yesterday, and it doesn't make any sense. Like the injuries for the Chargers they consistently bat up, and I always want to see these two at their peaks. I want to see them when they're healthy, because I think that that's the best possible matchup. You get them both when they're healthy, and you get to watch really good football. And it hasn't been that way. But we know one thing's going to happen is that Justin Herbert, win or lose, is going to bring his A game, even if he has broken rib cartilage, because he was still that guy last year, raising his game against the Chargers, against the Chiefs, which he'll do again. But this is the best defense that he's ever faced in Kansas City. That's going to be interesting to watch too.
And he recognized that in a presser here earlier this week. And they've all learned their lessons, especially within this division. Justin was very, very respectful, let's put it that way, of the Chiefs defense. Like, so far as to say, well, they always have good defenses and they always push us hard. Like, come on, buddy. Let's not go that crazy. But he said all the things that he needed to say. And I think the thing for me, just to go back to this real quick, the thing that stands out to me is this one number for Patrick. And that is, he has 250 times the amount of drops of everybody else. 250% of the drops is any other quarterback in this division. And that means something. Whereas Justin Herbert has the lowest of the 4 starting quarterbacks in this division. So that is something to keep an eye on.
Interesting.
What that does is it depends on who he's going to be throwing to. And what that does is we're going to talk about McCole Hardman, because he's back and in varying degrees. We'll even have a little discussion about Frank Clark, because I see you guys are already talking about that. Yeah. If you would like to get a question or a comment in, go ahead and throw that super chat in. We will get back to those as we look at what the matchups are. But first, we're going to take a specific look for our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Now, you can get in to Underdog right now, super easy. Just use the code. There's a link in the description here today. You can go to underdogfantasy.com and get signed up. Just use our code RGR and you get this $100 deposit match, and you get into that mystery pick'em. Obviously, Travis is always going to be, like he is here on the poster, one of the guys that you're going to want to look at. But anything is available there. And again, all you got to do is use our code when you get over there. Use RGR, and that helps the channel. But we're going to go through a pick'em right now, because that's what we do on Fridays, is get ready. And Patrick Mahomes, obviously, is going to be our number one guy. And 23 3/4 points in fantasy is something that I just find, this is in a standard scoring system. So receiving or passing touchdowns, just 4 points, etc. So your mileage may vary there depending on what you're used to in normal fantasy, but that's how this scoring system works. 23 3/4 for me feels definitely like something that he can attain. And if you guys don't know how the pick'em works, all you got to do is take that line and decide whether you think it's going to go higher or lower. That's it. Super simple and straightforward. Underdog Fantasy makes it very, very easy. So, Dan, I know where I'm at. Where are you on Patrick's game against the Chargers?
I mean, considering his fantasy performances over the last couple of weeks, I think that this is an area that you can 100% look to exploit. This is a team against the Chargers that he's very familiar with. He understands the players. I think that they understand what they're going to do. They're going to throw the football. And I think that they've really done a good job of mixing in some of the RPO looks that they're going to get to this week and the run game matchups. That's going to help the big plays down the field, I think. And then Patrick will throw touchdowns in this football game. So I know that he's got just the fantasy aspect side of this, but there's always pick'ems for underdog that's going to give you some higher or lower on statistical bets as not bets, but statistical picks as well. When we're talking about Patrick, higher or lower with his passing yards, stuff like that. So Patrick is definitely a higher for me when it comes to 23. I think he's going to push 30 points in this matchup.
Yeah, I agree with you. That is exactly where I'm at as well. So Patrick, obviously our top pick. Looking at other players here, that the offense is going to go through Travis Kelce. There's no way around that. And quite frankly, despite Derwin James's presence, I don't feel that this season there's much to be gained by taking the lower against Travis at 15 points. That seems easily attainable, particularly because he's going to score. He's going to get, 12 targets on average, probably. That's what I'm looking for. Unless there's another kind of re-injury during the game, I don't think that's probably any problem. I would take the higher on this as well. Where are you at?
So typically, I mean, he doesn't always play well against the Chargers. I think he typically does. Last year in week 2, didn't have the best outing. He had 5 receptions for 51 yards. I do think, though, that this is an area where the Chiefs, it's not week 2. They're not trying to figure stuff out. This is week 6 where they've had questions about their offense. And last week they went at Travis in the first half. They established that they were going to get him involved. This is another linebacker crew that you can attack. You can throw the football. It does not matter. We have seen now Travis is 34 years old. He's wide open. What is everyone doing? It's because he understands the game better than just about any tight end that may have ever played football in terms of where he stops and he starts. You guys go back and watch the QB school. If you guys don't follow him on Twitter, please do that. He's fantastic. He did a breakdown showing you that, Travis just kind of does what he wants to do. And the reason he does that is because he sees the defense like a quarterback. He absolutely does. So when we go back to his week 11 performance, he had 6 receptions, 115 yards, and 3 scores. I think we're looking at Travis Kelce, who is 10 days removed from playing in a game where he was probably a little hobbled, and he still was all over the place. That's what we're looking at right now. 10 days of rest. That higher than 15 fantasy points is really juicy to me right now.
Yeah, I am completely with you. We are going to continue. They want us to, one of the rules here is you're going to have to choose multiple teams, and that's fine. The key matchup for the Chargers side is going to be Keenan Allen, and we've talked about that. We're going to follow up with that too, because as much as the Chiefs offense is going to flow through Travis Kelce, the Chargers offense has to flow through Keenan Allen. And so there's a couple of options here. 14, I got to tell you, this is something that I think is a desert or it's a thunderstorm. I don't know which it's going to be, because there are days that Keenan Allen shows up and has the Chiefs number. There are days that he can't get anything done. And so I lean towards the latter in this particular matchup, because they're going to try to put him in the slot. I don't think they want him out wide. He runs about 2/3 of his routes from the slot, and that puts him on McDuffie. And despite McDuffie's age, I'm more than comfortable with him on Keenan Allen right now. I'm taking the higher on this. I'd probably just do the standard fantasy points, but where are you?
Yeah, again, we both think this is going to be a high-scoring game. The big difference for me is that there's no Mike Williams in this game. There isn't one. Like, there is no one or the other. Like, Keenan Allen is going to be the guy where the offense runs to. We've seen him now be used on jet motions, orbit motions. They do a lot to get him the football in space, because even though he's in his 30s now, he still moves quite well. He's not going to be a huge yak guy, but he can make a first guy miss and still score inside the red zone. He's going to get lots of targets in this game. He's still probably going to pile up some yards. And I think that we're talking about a game. He's got 2 games this season over 10 targets, one with 20 of them. Like, there's only one game he's had less than 9 targets, and it was against the Raiders, which makes no sense to me, by the way. It makes no sense. That's the only game where he had less than 9 targets. So his games this year, 11 targets, 20 targets, 10 targets, and 9. Like, that's just what he's going to be in this offense. It's going to flow through him. And I do think they're going to try to work to get him the ball whenever they can. Slot, not the slot. I do think they might try and get him matched up a little bit on the outside, just a tad, to mix that up a little bit. But at the end of the day, slot snaps are very difficult to get. So I think I'm also with you on the higher here. Regardless, either one, I think he gets 15 or more points this week.
I'm with you. Okay, so we have those picks for this game. Anybody else interest you in this one? Josh Palmer, Isaiah.
I mean, what I mean, they're probably going to pepper Austin Eckler with targets probably too. Like those are your number one, number two receiver in this offense. I expect them to be playing from behind, and 15 points from Austin Eckler seems like a gimme, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Okay. So this is half point PPR. So I tend to agree with you that that is probably there. I will take that as well. Let's do one from outside the game. And honestly, we've taken the higher on everybody so far.
Yeah, you're right.
Do you have an underachiever in mind that we could take? Because I have one if you don't.
Looking at the Detroit and Baltimore game, that's going to be outdoors in Baltimore. And I know Jared Goff doesn't typically play well outdoors. And 16.85. Even Lamar Jackson at 21. I could realistically say take a lower on both of them. Because I think that Baltimore's defense is going to come to play. And last week against the Buccaneers, I don't even think Jared Goff had that great of a game. So, but unless Lamar Jackson scores a rushing touchdown, I don't think he gets 21 points in this game.
I agree with you. That's kind of where I'm at. In fact, this is one of the ones I was looking at. Like, I don't know who I'm more comfortable with. Right now, I'm probably leaning towards Lamar. If I want to take a lower, that's where I'm going right now.
Yeah, look at his performance. I mean, he had a good game against Cleveland, but Tennessee 18, Pittsburgh 10. The Lions have a better defense than both. I mean, maybe not better than Tennessee, but at least up there with Tennessee. I think I'm with you. I'm lower on Lamar Jackson.
We are doing that. So what we've accomplished here, folks, is that we have created a bunch of picks based on the Chiefs and Chargers game. We threw one extra in there, and I'm going to go here. I'm going to go up. I feel really good about this one. We're gonna
like
have a $50 submit here, and this is how we can get up to. If you guys say if we ping this off, fantasy underdog does not screw around. It's $1,000 payout on a $50 daily fantasy sports at its best. If you guys go sign up with our code RGR, you can go get into that right now. And you get that $100 price match. So if you put $100 in your first deposit, they'll match it up to $100, and you can come do this same thing. I feel really good about this one. We were very close. We hit the under and everything that we wanted to on one Joe Burrow. For those of you that were paying attention last week, that was very satisfying to me. I mean, maybe I'm the only one, but I feel pretty good about that one. Joe going lower, it makes me happy just in a number of ways. But I think we're in pretty good shape there. So if you guys want to go ahead and hit the link in the description, you can get into that yourself. I'm going to share this out on social media as well. So, hey,
yeah, I like it.
That's a good start. But all that said, we covered the two main targets in each offense. What happens next? Well, somebody's got to fill in because the Chiefs have not been the juggernaut that they have come to be expected to be. So we talked the day that Mecole Hardman was traded back to the Chiefs. We were both very optimistic on it. But he was a little cat and mouse yesterday about, hey, I'll do kick returns if that's what they need me to do, whatever. I think they throw him back into the fire, and I think he does get out on the field, and Mecole does get some targets here. That's what I'm looking for. Are you as excited about that, or do you think I'm a little over anxious?
I think that it would be a good idea just because you throw someone else out there that they haven't been prepping for. It's always a good idea to just kind of get that. I just think that you get them 3 or 4 touches, not necessarily targets, touches. I think that's a good introduction back into the offense, but also it gives you, because you don't have to always get him the ball when he's on the field. You can just use him in jet sweep, like just take him for the motion. If you show it once, you can always put it back in there and say, look, we will give him the ball if you don't respect it. I think that's something that they used to do. And, he's scored some touchdowns on jet sweeps in the past. So bring that out in the red zone. You might be able to get a little bit of misdirection in your favor. I think that would be something as well. So I know Andy Reid was a little bit, it's trending towards they're going to play. They're absolutely going to, he's absolutely going to be active for this game. So you don't put Montreal Washington, you don't waive him if you don't expect Mecole Hardman to not be active for this football game. So I totally expect it. Get him a couple just to get his feet wet back in Kansas City.
I'm totally with you. And he seems like he's ready for it. Like
mentally
I felt, I felt like he came in like a little bit humbled. he even said, hey, I got pretty arrogant last year and the injury kind of knocked me down, and learning from Aaron Rodgers. And Chiefs fans might not be huge Aaron Rodgers fans, and I can understand that. But you do have to give respect that he's a Hall of Famer. And if there's anybody that is on a comparable level to Patrick Mahomes in this league, it's Aaron Rodgers. And to see that from a different perspective, it forces you to grow up a little bit, I think. And so I'm very eager to see what McCole Hardman comes back and contributes after all of that.
Me too. Like when you're able to kind of see what it's like on the outside, not in Kansas City, I think you have a different appreciation for what was done here specifically. And when he's right and he's healthy again, he adds that acceleration boost to this offense that they don't have. And I do believe that they made a miscalculation, that they felt they made a miscalculation with their offseason plan. And that's why he's back in Kansas City. They don't make this move if everything's going hunky-dory in Kansas City with the wide receiver room. That they just don't bring him back. So they felt it was important to bring him back for his speed, specifically for returns, punt returns, and then I believe jet sweeps, because everything that has been at the jet sweep department this season, it's not been great. And he can absolutely bring that to this team. And again, him being, I think, mentally ready. His interview process was really, really nice to see in the few days that we got to see him in Kansas City back. So I'm excited for him. I think he needed the offseason and being a part of a different organization to reflect on his own play. And hopefully he comes back and is just ready to do what he needs to do.
Yeah, I agree. And I think he's going to unlock everyone else too by allowing them to do just what they need to do. It's all feeding together. Dr. Durden, appreciate you, Tyler. I very much believe that he can reproduce a performance like that, especially because there's something about just falling back into a comfort zone. And nobody has film on McCole Hardman. Not only has he not played for the Chiefs this season, he's hardly played for the Jets this season. So if there's a team that would like just go off his reputation, it could be the Chargers. That's true. But I really think that, hey, McCole, just do these things that you do well, and boom, I think he can have an impact. Could it be 3 touchdowns this week? I don't think so. I think he's going to have an opportunity to get loose, and I think he'll take advantage of it. I think he probably scores.
I don't think he's going to score this week, personally. I don't think he's going to be involved enough for it. And specifically, I think that later in the season after the bye is when you'll see him start to get reincorporated into the not just being used downfield, but running routes, like having more than just a gimmick role. I think that they want to get him in, like I said, get him some touches just to get him comfortable. But at the end of the day, this is voting towards the bye week. Like you have this week, Broncos, and then Germany, then you have your bye week.
Yep.
That's a perfect ramp-up period. It's 3 games. Get him some touches, get him comfortable, and then you say, all right, here's what we're going to be running for the rest of the season, and then here we go. Here's your playbook. And then there it is. That's what you're going to see. You can run some of those crisscross go routes that they used to run with Tyreek and McCole. You can do that a little bit with MVS and McCole now that you have that speed. So I'm not trying to get in over my head because, again, this is a player who his best season was his rookie season in terms of touchdowns and impact. He had 800 yards. I think I don't remember if it was last year or the year before, but he had 800 yards before his last healthy season. And then he started to get, hurt. So just try to keep in the moment and hopefully when he's all encompassed in the offense, I think that down the stretch, he has a game where it's 2 touchdowns, not necessarily 3, but he's definitely able to do so.
I'm double checking that because you're right. I wanted to say it was 2 years ago, but
yeah, it wasn't last year for sure because he got hurt.
Yeah. Let's see. It helps if I actually look up the correct stat.
The right stats would be useful, right?
Yeah, hey, sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. You're absolutely right. It was the year before. It was 2021. There's an added thing for me here, and it's the Germany game. There is something to be said. We're going to see a ton of speed in the game because Tyreek's going to be there. McCole mentioned Tyreek by name in his presser. Like, despite Tyreek's disappearance or departure, I guess is probably a better word for it, and being an explosive offense, there's still the Tyreek factor here in Kansas City. And McCole might be the only guy that can put that kind of just hit the gas full on and let's do something kind of play to try to keep up with what we expect we're going to see from Tyreek. Maybe Achan's not going to be back, is he? So like they don't have that speed in the backfield, do they? Mostert's good, but he's not that fast.
He's not that fast, but he's very close.
Pretty quick.
He's very close.
All right. Well, I got to give Devin some props. I did not think he'd have this impact as a rookie, so kudos to him.
Me either. Like, you did a great job.
Dr. Durden, appreciate you, Tyler.
Appreciate you, Doctor.
Very much. Thanks for the super chat. Preachers, Andy kind of blew off that Hardman would play Sunday, but Travis told him a different story. What do you think? There's no way he doesn't play. The volume is going to be the question. I'm leaning towards more. I think Dan's probably more accurate. It'll probably take a while. I'm just, I'm seeing an opportunity and I want to take advantage of it. That's
no, I understand it. Honestly, if he does, maybe we can have an agreement, an off-campus arrangement, as the players now have to refer to it as. If he has like a touchdown in this game, we do something different. But absolutely, I would love to see him score a touchdown. It would be a really great welcome home present. Because again, I remember when this was brought up, I gave it a 5% chance that they traded for him. I was like, it was a 5% chance. No, didn't happen. They actually went through for it. So I know I was less optimistic they would do it, but they clearly felt they needed to bring in that speed. So I would love to see him score a touchdown this weekend.
Yeah, me too. Frankie, thank you, buddy. FLDB
Appreciate
is our
it,
man.
FLDB.
He helps us, has set up a ton of stuff in the Discord. If you guys want in the Discord, hit the join button below and join at that rookie level or above. And when you connect your accounts from Discord, you can put your YouTube login in there. You're in like Flynn. You get the full spread. You guys can go check it out at Rogue Nation if you would like to do that, just to take a look at it. I have it in here, and I'm going to put it on the screen as soon as I can get to it. It is bit.ly/RGR Nation, and it'll give you the foyer. You can just take a look at what it's like. All the goods are behind the wall with all the guys contributing. Stevie's over there a ton. FLDB's there all the time. He's got this as a 24-7 team game. We're going to get to our predictions coming up. I'm just going to tell you that feels a little light to me.
Yeah, a little bit. Just a tad.
Okay. So you and I are, this is going to be fun. Folks, we don't do our predictions to each other before the show. We do this live so that you guys can be here on it. You can start throwing in your predictions if you would like. And I definitely want to see all of your comments. If you're not watching this live, I definitely want to see your predictions down in the comment section afterwards. But FLDB, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. On to the next topic about returning guys. Brandon's asking, is he not signing with the Chiefs? And that is in reference to Frank Clark, who had the physical yesterday. I have not seen a single report pass fail on that. I have talked to multiple people say it did happen, but don't know what the results are. And I don't know generally if it's elongated in its reporting, there's something that has come up that is a question mark. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but maybe they want to see a specialist. Maybe there's a backup scenario or something like that. So we just got to keep that in mind. But are you still full bore that this should happen, that you want to see him back in the roster?
I don't even know if it's going to be roster. I think he might just end up being on the practice squad for them. Just somebody to lean on when the playoffs come around. Like, he would be up on their roster when the postseason comes around. Again, they would have to release somebody else for him to be on the roster when it comes down to it. So I'm not really sure they have the bodies to just release for Frank Clark. So on the practice squad, sure, but bringing him onto the roster right now, to me, doesn't make a lot of sense when you're getting Charles Omenihu back.
Fair enough. And if you guys want to know where I'm at on this whole concept of releasing players, you can check the memberships, because my where I'm at this week it's going to be fun. I tried to record it once and I had way too many cuss words in there, so I got to do it again.
It's what the members are for.
I know.
It's what they're for.
Seriously, there are naval officers that would tell me that I am going too far. So it was not good. So Brandon, don't know is the bottom line true answer. If he was used and he was on the 53, Brian, I would think he would be limited to passing downs. Yes. I don't think there's much else that Frank can do right now. And it's not that FAU is struggling anything like dramatic. He certainly hasn't hit the ground running. I think some time with Frank would be very beneficial to Felix. So, like, even if it is practice squad, just to be in the room, just to see it from his eyes and hear the way he goes about attacking everything, I think that will help Felix all the way around.
It's hard to get going and work on your stuff when you're on the bench about 70% of the game. That's just the fact of the matter. So, yeah, he was a first-round pick, and they've got Mike Dana kind of playing like this, like all season. Contract years undefeated, right? Like I've heard that for a couple of players on the Chiefs roster on the defensive side. So it does put a little bit of problem with his situation. So at the end of the day, it's hard to get in there and work, but having a guy on the practice squad who you would practice with every single day, Frank Clark, could help him mentor that everything, getting him right. And it'd be a welcome sign back for George Karlaftis, Mike Dana, all of those defensive ends.
Yeah, it can only be a positive at this point. Will it happen? That's going to be our question going forward. We'll find out. And I'm hoping that we find out rather soon. So Brian will obviously break something again if that does happen this afternoon or tonight or whatever. So thanks for your question, buddy. And thank you, Darius, for the support as always. Nice to see you, bud. Seems like we're all ready to give up on Sky. Is that truly time? And if so, will Dan finally admit that we should have drafted Pickens? It's not time to give up on Sky. Is he getting the looks? No. But we've shown you, and Dan in particular has shown you, that he is getting open. There's a disconnection between he and the quarterback right now, and I do think that is a portion of this. So give up on Sky. It is not that time. But I still will not speak for Dan, but I am going to wager that the two are separated enough between he and Pickens that the decision was not an A-B situation. Where do you stand on that?
Oh, absolutely not. And the reason the Chiefs traded down around him is for a multitude of reasons. Okay. And Darius, again, appreciate the support, but I'm gonna wager that if George Pickens was in this offense, do you think he would have had his rookie season that he had? Probably wouldn't have. The one thing, and it's still the one thing that he's elite at, I won't even deny it. He's elite at winning 50-50 balls. He turns them into 70-30 balls about that much of the time. Where do you find that in the Kansas City offense? Where do you find it? You don't find it. So they did the right thing by not drafting him in terms of what they use. If they were open to using their offense in a different way in doing that, sure. Yeah. Take the better athlete in terms of size, speed, and weight, all that stuff. I get it. They didn't because they don't value what he does, in my opinion.
Well, let's be real, too. He had a significant injury going into that draft cycle.
Very true.
And everybody's physicians have different takes on it. Maybe they don't feel that he can sustain through his rookie contract. And maybe as well as Kenny Pickett's put his faith into him, maybe that's part of the equation that we don't know from Brett Veach. So if you like what you see on the field from Pickens, enjoy that. I don't think the product would have been the same had he been in Kansas City. But
I'd love to see him get tons of targets like that. That's cool. Like he's getting what, 9 targets a game in Pittsburgh. What are they got over there? I mean, now they'll get Deontay Johnson back, but he's not getting the volume. I believe so. He's practiced in full like all week, so I expect him to be active against the Rams.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to go back to underdog when we're done because I'm gonna go look at that here real quick.
But yeah. I was still higher on Pickens than I probably initially was. I wasn't as high as everybody else, and I think that's kind of come to fruition. He doesn't create separation unless somebody just doesn't look at him, and he's a really good 50-50 ball winner. And if you're doing that in Kansas City, great. Go ahead and draft him. But they don't. They don't.
Yeah. And Dr. Durden, to your point, yes, that is what Justin Ross does. But Justin Ross is not a large part of the offense. It's the same kind of concept. Like he can, but they don't. And I think that's part of the problem for matching usage to fit and skill set. Thanks, Darius. Appreciate you, bud. John, thank you very much.
Appreciate you, John.
Would you, if you were Clark Hunt, offer Patrick a new contract for 5 to 10 a year plus for 10 years, plus 2 to 5% of the team? Would you or should Patrick accept? We can take this in 2 parts. Do you want to go first?
You go first. I'm still formulating my opinion.
Clark Hunt is NFL royalty. His dad put this league together. There's no way in hell he's making him a percentage owner offer, nor should he. That would be silly. And this goes back to the whole guaranteed contract thing. You saw the NFL totally rebel about the contract that Deshaun Watson got because the owners don't want to do that. They're not giving up portions of their team no matter who the player is. If Tom Brady doesn't get a percentage, nobody's going to get a percentage. I don't see that happening ever because owners' bottom line is they want to make money and they like being owners. But if you were on the other hand, if you were Patrick and you got that offer, the Chiefs are a profitable team. In terms of profit margin, they are in the top half of the league. But you have to remember, they're also in the bottom third of the league in terms of overall valuation because we, Chiefs Kingdom, Rogue Nation, is one of the smallest fan bases in this league. And I think that goes into you're getting 2 to 5%, but of what? You're not getting Cowboys money. You're not getting Patriots money. So I think that from Patrick's point of view, I think the guarantees that he can acquire in a contract structure like he has now is probably better off for him in the long run.
Also, if we're talking about percentages of the team, that's illegal. You can't do that. You cannot own parts of the team as a player. So that's why the whole stuff about Caleb Williams wanting to own a percentage of the team that's drafting him, one, it's false because it's illegal, and every agent knows that. So whoever spread this rumor is just trying to get their name out there and just spread some stuff. It's illegal. You can't be doing it. So
it's leverage.
Yes and no. Like if you could, sure, why not? Because you'd be getting a part of the team. But the fact of the matter is that they can't actually do that. So, but no.
Yes, Gary, we are growing. Beware the fair weather fan, but the bandwagon hasn't grown significantly in the last few years. So I'm totally with you there. And to your point, the illegality, I think in Caleb's world, if an agent's putting that out and whatever, that's just a negotiation tactic because you say, hey, we can't do that anyway. And you say, but I really want that. And we can't do that, but you know what I mean? If Caleb's going to try to force his way out of a team selection like Eli did, I think that's going to backfire badly for him.
Yeah.
Especially after games like Notre Dame. Just saying.
Oh, it's kind of funny what happens when you do exactly what his weakness is. You force him to stay in the pocket and go through his reads.
Which is what every single defensive coordinator in the NFL will do every single week. So you can see how the evaluation from college to the NFL is some projection because of everything that changes. KL, I know you just wanted to start the fire here. I don't think the Chiefs are going to plan to release Justin Ross. They would have done that had they wanted to.
They couldn't do it anyway.
Yeah, I don't think he would make it anywhere. He would be claimed instantly. I'm hopeful. I haven't seen a report on Keandre Coburn. You guys are going to hear that in my members vid today because I'm pissed. I think that's a chance not worth taking at this point. Justin Ross would be one as well. He would be picked up. I mean, who's first on the waiver order?
The Bears?
Whoever it is. Yeah, the Bears are claiming him in an instant. I guarantee that. So that said, Gary, one of our mods, thank you. Everybody give Gary a hand.
Gary.
Is this the team we go with, or do we see the Chiefs try for any free agents? Unless somebody else is released in this kind of fashion like Frank has, I don't think that there's much like on the free agency market that's even worth looking at. Do you?
Not really. We've kind of seen what the Chiefs value, right?
Mm-hmm.
Familiarity. The one thing that you have in the offense now is you have players that are the young wide receivers are starting to get the familiar part. They brought in someone who doesn't have to learn the offense, and the defense is clicking because they all have been in the system now for years. Like the guys that are playing the majority of the snaps, they do not want to inject players that are going to be able to throw that off. Okay. They're not going to want to do that. So free agents, unless you've been in the system, you're probably not going to be on the team. That's just the matter of fact, in my opinion.
The offseason process is for exactly that. That's why Andy does it that way. And that's the other thing I wanted to bring up. If there was another position, in particular on the defense, if there was something that they could go after, what would you like to see him do?
Defensive tackle. That's it. Because I'll be very honest with you, outside of Derek Nottie playing up to snuff this year and Chris Jones, what have they really got? They don't really have anybody, and they felt comfortable enough releasing Kendrick Coburn that, that really doesn't leave much to be desired outside of everybody else in the defensive tackle spot. So Neil Farrell has not done anything. He's been no needle mover for me. Wharton's had a few plays where you're like, that kind of looked like the guy from 2 years ago. But they need some depth at defensive tackle. So if there's one area you might be able to find somebody that could help, it would be there, in my opinion. Everywhere else at defense, they're pretty much set.
I cannot argue with you in any way. I'm just frustrated because I'm not able to grab this clip so I can show it to everyone. I think you probably know where I'm going.
Probably.
Give me just a minute, folks. I'm going to try to get it. Dan, would you take Callie's? Callie, I appreciate you.
I would, but we're going to need your opinion on this one too. So you might have to wait a second.
Okay, well, you start. Let me find this clip.
Well, I appreciate it, Callie. We appreciate your support. I'm going to the Chiefs-Broncos game. Awesome. Dan gave me food recommendations for the Lions game with Jack Stack. It was great. Great. Tell me what you got. I need to know, because this is important information for me. I need to know what you got, because I'm a barbecue guy, and I always get the same thing, a variation of the same thing when I go to my barbecue places. And now Kelly needs one from you, Ryan, for the Denver game. For Denver when they go to the Chiefs Broncos game.
Okay. So need one. Okay, need one from Denver. Okay. Well, so here's the thing. Barbecue in Denver is a desert.
It's just food recommendations. Doesn't have to be
just
barbecue.
Food in general.
It's
okay.
Food recommendations.
All right. Let's go through this a little bit then. So if you like sushi, say, it's, oh man, that's a tough one. Evidently, I must be in the mood for sushi. I have no idea. There's a little place called Iwayama down on the west side that you can check out. If you like, if you here for like Louisiana crawfish, go check out Yabby Hut. That's also on the west side. If you're looking for, let's see, I'll have to come up with the Italian one because there's like 4 places that I like. Evidently, I eat too much Italian, but Callie, I will tell you this too. The thing to do in Denver is called green chili. It is Hatch hot chilies made into a stew or a sauce, one or the other. My perfect one is Los Dos Patrios, a Mexican family-owned chain. They do a great green chili. You can find one at La Fortuna as well. I would do green chili if you're in Denver.
That sounds amazing, and I don't know why you haven't been able to get some shipped to me at this point.
Hey, I might be able to fix that, man. I will definitely try to do that. But in buying me some time, I want to go back to my complaint because you nailed exactly what I would have said as well. So let me get us out of the way here for a moment so we can put this up where it belongs, because
Backfield. Hill,
this is going to replay because evidently I started it too soon.
Defensive tackle in the backfield.
Oh,
Hill,
look at that.
You get defensive
tackle we all know. Running as a fullback. He can play linebacker, and Colin Saunders can be a fullback. This is what I would do. If I was going to go back and get any ex-Chief, I'd bring back Colin Saunders.
Come on home. Come home.
I know, right? I mean,
he's actually been really good there too. Like he's been very good for him. And I don't understand why this was never a thing in Kansas City. The first year that New Orleans gets him and they put him in the backfield. Why now? Like,
yeah.
Andy, what you've been having issues on short yardage for the last couple of seasons. You've had this guy in your back in your under defense for 3 years before this. What's going on? What's going on?
Makes me angry.
I'm devastated. I'm devastated. We saw him play linebacker. Okay. He could play fullback.
Yeah. I mean, come on. If you guys saw his high school film, and I know I put it on my Twitter timeline, or sorry, X, whatever the hell it is now. I showed you in college, in high school, he would play fullback and he caught passes, swings,
makes me mad.
Wheels.
You're making me mad.
I know. I'm sorry. I'll stop. I will not get us any farther than we need to be because we already are. All right. Last couple of questions. We're going to call it a Friday, folks, because now I'm pissed. Callie, have a great time. Hit me up at rgrpodcasts@gmail.com for an email, and we'll connect. And maybe I can hook up with you for some green chili. That might be fun. I should be at that game as well. We'll see if I get credentialed or not. Broncos PR, little help.
Well, how?
Alex, bro. I'm just going to call it that. Do you think that McColl will be returning punts this weekend? And I think it's a distinct possibility. Now, I've been looking for reports from practice. No one's seen it that I've seen reported. So I've got a couple calls out to guys who get to see practice, and I still haven't seen anything about it. So maybe that's a trip too far. I don't know, but you don't have Washington. So what would you do?
You don't have Washington. You don't have Watson, who was your safety net last year. And as much as I know that they probably will say they have confidence in Sky, who you have as your punt returner. You're not putting Kadarius Toney back there. You're not doing it. I know that he had the great punt return in the Super Bowl, but you don't want to risk his injury. I think it's going to be McCole Hardman.
Yeah, I certainly think so. That's what I would do. That's all we can say, Alex. Mike, I hope you're well, buddy. You got a couple here. And then anybody else wants a question in, go ahead and throw that in there now. We're going to wrap it up. Charles Mayhew, best at D tackle or D end? I'm just going to shake my head and say yes.
You're going to take the easy way out?
I am. I would lean DT, but every time I said that, I went back and watched some film, and every time I felt like that, the next play he would make it from outside. So I really like he's not. Is he better than Cam Jordan outside? Probably not, but he's close. He's not, the old Von Miller or anybody. He's not Micah Parsons, but he can get it done out there. I think he has more of an advantage inside. Where do you see it?
I don't think you're going to see him a lot on the outside, specifically because I think they have their guys working really good right now in terms of Mike Dana and George Karlaftis. You might mix in when he gets more up to speed on conditioning, but I think he's going to be almost strictly a pass rush down guy where he comes out there with the NASCAR package, where he's in there, the defensive tackle next to Chris Jones or next to GK or next to Mike Dana, wherever it ends up being, because he's the better pass rusher from the inside than he is from the outside. Yeah,
I'm with you. And Casey, you are absolutely right. People will lose their minds, and then they can say that I was right. Who's the backup punter?
You guys heard it from Dave Tobe's mouth yesterday. You heard it.
Yeah. I just don't remember who it is. It technically, yeah, right? Watson was the backup holder. Was that right?
That's accurate. Yeah. So yeah, okay. Right now, I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes. He is your backup punter. Granted, if it ever end up in a game, it's probably Justin Reed, if we're being honest with ourselves.
And that's what I said.
Patrick Mahomes out there. They'll throw out Justin Reed.
God, his plant foot is that same right ankle, folks. I ain't doing it. They posted a video of him fielding punts. Okay, thanks, Sean. I hadn't seen that, so let's hope that continues. And Micah, again, thank you, buddy. Do you like the Iowa tight ends, Lacey? I don't even know how to pronounce the dang name. And all to the draft. They both got hurt and are out for the year. I looked at the second guy and saw a couple plays. I think I put in my notes, go back. I don't know.
Eric All is the typical, has tons of traits, gets hurt, and doesn't really perform because he was a Michigan guy before that. Couldn't get playing time because he kept getting passed over by Luke Schoonmaker and now Loveland. So Colson Loveland. So he is not somebody that I'm looking at. And Leahy, I think is going to be a good player. But again, injuries are tough. It's really tough to draft these guys, especially, you could draft them late, but he's got lots of talent. They both have a lot of ability. That's just the truth.
And let's be honest, playing in that offense ain't teaching them anything. It isn't.
Look at Sam Laporta. Didn't matter.
Well, no, that's fair. I mean, that's all athleticism. So you got a point on all, but yeah, I don't know, man. And Micah, I didn't realize you lived in Denver too. So, hey, I am not far. We should hook up. In fact, maybe that's what we'll do is we'll do a pregame because I still haven't been to Don's during a game because I can't bring myself because I can't do the show afterwards. So we got back-to-back streams live, and I will be sauced. So maybe we can all hook up before that game and do like dinner the night before or something. Get some chili. Great ideas, and thank you for throwing those out. And then Joseph just had Ben Snow from KSU. I have not watched a single K-State game yet this year. I haven't gotten one of them locally. So
I haven't. I haven't been home on Saturdays to watch them. To be honest with you, I've been out and doing stuff.
Yeah, my kids are in season for high school. So like I've been away pretty much every Saturday and part of some Sundays, unfortunately. So that's it. Thank you for being with us. Again, if you want to get in on Underdog, you can help us, help them. That helps you, that you get stuff and you do the things. And hey, presto. Use that code RGR at Underdog Fantasy. Very much appreciate them getting in on board. I hope you guys are ready. Happy Red Friday. We're going to be live post-game, like always. I think this is going to be a fun one. So it is now time for our predictions, Dan.
It is.
Would you like to go first, or do you want the second half deferment here?
Oh, I'll take this one first. I'm usually the ender. So I this is the last time that I'm going to predict this had to happen for the Chiefs offense. If it doesn't happen this time, we're going to go back the other way. We're just going to stop. So we're going 31-21 Chiefs. I think they extend it late, and it's going to be a little bit closer until the end. You might see a little close. It might be like 14-14 going into half, and then the Chiefs take it out the other way to take it home. So 31-21 Kansas City.
Okay. You stole my number from yesterday on Locked On Chiefs. So I will augment, and I'll give Keenan Allen a little bit more credit. How's that? So I'll go 31-24 in a game that they come back on and fail. How's that? I like that.
That works. Works too.
That I think either way, this is a Chiefs win, sole ownership. I mean, domination of the division, and we're off and running. Terry, I think we covered it before. If you're late to the stream, we think it's a possibility, but we're not sure what's going on yet. We'll have to see the results of the physical, but he'll certainly lift the team and the young guys in particular in any way, shape, or form, even if he just gets back to the practice squad. So you guys have a great evening. If and when Frank does get back, I'll drop something live for you real quick, depending on where I'm at and what I'm doing. It might be from a volleyball tournament, so be prepared. But that said, have a great weekend. We'll see you post-game. And Dan, good luck. I hope that you enjoy your weekend with the little one and run around, because it sounds like you're going to be busy.
I'm always busy. We just got to do what we got to do. We'll see you guys after the game on Sunday.
See ya. Have a good one.